Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Old Fashioned Health Network. Good health inside and out. I'm Gwen McDaniel, your host for the Senior Living Life Show, and we are so excited to have you with us today because I think you'll agree that our topic today is very timely. Today, we're going to talk to two senior entrepreneurs. You know, so many things have happened to our seniors. Even people in their late 50s over jobs have laid people off. Very few people are hiring. The bills continue to come, right? Well, this may be a great time for you to consider owning your own business. And we're going to talk to two entrepreneurs today that's been in business quite a while. They've done well, but as a result, they also can encourage you maybe on how you might want to consider this as an option since companies aren't hiring any longer, and you may be able to step out on that one why, that reason why things are so important to you. So I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Diange Adoma. Good morning, Dr. Adoma.
Good morning, Gwen.
Oh, super great to have you with us. And Dr. Adoma's business is Diange Adoma Consulting, LLC, and she is awesome at helping talk people through their choices and their occupations in life. She helps a lot of women as they're on their journey to new businesses. So I'm glad to have you with us. And then we also have Mr. Rich Wilkins. Hello, Rich, and thank you for joining us as well.
Good morning, Gwen. Good morning.
Super.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me.
Absolutely. Well, Rich is with Legal Shield and ID Shield Business Solutions. And that business, of course, is very timely for what we're seeing within our credit reports, within our lives, different legal situations. He's there as well to bring a business that's very timely to the community. But I invited you to this morning because I wanted you to share in your own words how long you've been in your business, why you've been in this business for that particular time, and what it means to you as a senior at this point in your life to own your own business. So, Rich, could we start with you? You can kind of give us a little background and information on your business and why you do what you do.
Sure, Gwen. I am an independent associate with Legal Shield and ID Shield. Been in it 13 years. I got an opportunity some 13 years ago where a gentleman came to me and spoke about a business that I can make a difference in other people's lives while making a living. And I love helping people and so happily get paid. But my passion has always been that. And it made a difference, especially during these times. Such a thing is called residual income. That got me through, especially this COVID-19 time. And we're able to help so many people get their wills done, etc.
Sure, to help them with wills and other things.
Can you hear me, Gwen?
Yes, other things that are so pertinent for us right now at this uncertain time, for sure. So you saw this.
Certainly, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead, Gwen.
No, I was thinking that this is really an important time to make sure that we have our legal papers in line, health papers in line. It's just so many things that we need to make sure that we have, that we're on top of, because really it's because of you that I have my information in order. So it really makes a lot of difference. And Dr. Adoma, would you share with us then a little bit about your business and why you've elected this line of business for these number of years? How long you've been in business?
Well, actually, Gwen, I've been in business as an entrepreneur since 2008. Many people may not know that my ex-husband and I were the first H&R Block franchise owners in the entire southeastern United States. The first real African American to ever own an H&R Block franchise. And as of today, I believe we might still be the only African American. When you think about franchises, you normally think about McDonald's, right? Or Subway. And what has really happened is started out in the franchise business, got divorced in late 2016, almost 2017. I had a consulting firm, which is Diange Adoma Consulting LLC. The consulting firm was actually sitting idle and dormant as a subsidiary under Adoma and Associates doing business as H&R Block. So when I got divorced, I realized that I wasn't doing anything with my own company, that I was building our company. And likewise, that's what you do, right? When you're married, you build that company together. And so in 2015, my company was incorporated, but it didn't really get off the ground and start building this structure until I got divorced, which was late 2016, early 2017. Mm-hmm. And so your question is, how long I've been in business and why? And I can go into the why part because people need to know that when you go into business, there are a lot of risks that you take, but there are a lot of stereotypes that are attached to people of age. When we think of diversity, or when we think of discrimination, we tend to think of race, right? But we seldom think of the age piece, that people are being discriminated against or people are being stereotyped simply because of their age. So let me just say this. We just elected, we got a president-elect who's almost 80 years old, and millions of people saw absolutely nothing wrong with aggressively voting to let almost an 80-year-old run the country. Why? Because they feel like he's the better candidate to run the country. And so when you look at that, I say that you're never, ever too old to make money, to change careers, to secure what I call maybe repurpose your life. Maybe you were young and raising children and fighting all the obstacles that we fight when we're, in those younger years. And now as you age, society is putting this stigma on you that you should go sit in a rocking chair on someone's front porch and do nothing or babysit grandbabies, which ain't nothing wrong with that. I love my grandbabies. That's where I am now, with my grandchildren. But Mary Kay, KFC, and even one of the original founders of PeopleSoft, a very popular software company, were all in their late 50s and 60s when they went out on a limb and entered into entrepreneurship. So there are many reasons why an older person, I'll get into that later on your show, hopefully, why being a person of experience, and I hate the word old, because I don't think there's no such thing as old. When I look at my ancestors and I look at Big Mama and them cooking and stuff, I just saw this burst of energy of people just working hard. So we can't let age deter us from repurposing our life, because COVID-19, if it didn't teach anyone anything, it should have taught you how important it is to be flexible and to be able to take advantage of what is a negative situation, no matter what your age is, and convert it into something positive.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the fact that you brought that out. Rich, why do you think the people that you come in contact with that are in their early 60s, now the people that are laid off at 60 can't even draw their Social Security till they're 62, and they're recommending you don't pull it down till you're 66, 67. So there's that gap, and people bills continue to come. Why do you think some people are hesitant about starting a business, just continue to look for work?
Well, Gwen, it's because of mindset. First of all, the whole idea about retirement. I always ask people, where do you see retirement in the Bible? It's nowhere in there. So that means you might go from one phrase to another where you leave a job that you may had to have worked for those many years, but it's still in their minds that you put so much time into a job. And then after that, you retire. You golf every day. You do walk and do all the things that you would want to do anyway earlier, but you wait until that time. So it's just a mindset. I would definitely think it's a mindset. And people become, again, afraid. Dr. Adoma was correct in saying people become afraid and get into a state of inertia. So I think that's probably the reason. But I can say to encourage everyone, it's just like you hear about people saying that you have a book in everyone has a book in them. Mm-hmm. You have a business in you, and you must get that out. And I think the sooner the better, because jobs are not the same. You don't stay on a job 20 and 30 years anymore.
Absolutely.
The gig, what you hear about the gig economy, pretty surprised though, they're a little more, they say they're more senior people that are in business than millennials. Mm-hmm. And so people probably just don't even know that. But those, certainly it's taking place, and more people have that, what we call that side gig, or what's called, they just never thought about making that a business.
Yeah, so, the things that they've done as a hobby could definitely be created into a business and generate the income for them. Dr. Adoma, we don't have a lot of time, but I would love for you to share with the audience, what do you recommend to some of the people that have been laid off and they're not really sure whether they should go into business or continue to try to look for work? What encouraging word would you give some of our seniors today?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell anybody that's a senior is to look at what you are personally able to do, not your age. Because sometimes when we see the number, it can be a little frightening. We got more years behind us than ahead of us. So that's the first thing. But the second thing I want to add is I believe in data. I analyze data when I'm making tough decisions. There was a study done by Entrepreneur Inc. magazine, and they studied 2.7 million small businesses. And what was really interesting is that they found that the success rate for the business owner who was over 50, definitely over 40, and well into their 60s was 2.8 times greater to be successful. So those numbers, when they say 3 out of 5 businesses are going to fail, well, that really does not reference the more experienced worker, because the stats also show that they are 2.8 times greater. They have a greater chance of being successful than a younger business. And here's why. Because when you enter into a business, as Rich said, it may be your passion, your hobby, you may be energetic, you might have a bright idea, but what is it that and nothing against our young entrepreneurs, because I'm going to talk about why they play a role too, but all of those things, the young and the experienced entrepreneur have all those things, a great idea, passion, they can have energy, right? We can agree on that, because some 60-year-olds can do more push-ups than a 20-year-old. But what is the biggest difference between those two groups of entrepreneurs is experience, Gwen.
Right.
It's experience. And so when you have to make tactical decisions, when you have to execute strategies, there's no substitute, and I say this with conviction, there's no substitute for experience. And let me give an example. Failures and losses that you experience along the way, when you get in your 60s, you bet you've overcome some things. And so there's no way a 18, 19-year-old business owner, even a 25 or 30-year-old, can have the wisdom of overcoming obstacles and challenges like a 60-year-old. So when Mary Kay and KFC and Mr. Duffield and all these people, and there's tons of them out there over 60, when they went into business, they had already overcome. Read their stories. They had already overcome a lot of challenges. So they knew the pitfalls to avoid. So when COVID-19 hits and you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you're not shielded in a bubble, but what you have is this ability to kind of digress and navigate through it because you've already went through some of those types of failures in your lifetime.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is we have a lot more to offer than a lot of us perceive that we have to offer. The experience,
Absolutely.
you know, when you think of someone running their household, it takes a lot to do that. But the biggest thing I think is that it takes faith to step out, to consider the fact that you do have something to offer, and to realize that you're not the only senior that's out there. There are a lot of us. It's like 54 million seniors over 65. So there are a lot of vibrant, young, thinking, acting seniors that could take advantage of running a business, being successful, and being able to continue their lifestyle even before they were depending on the job. Well, listen, our time gets by really, really fast, but I really appreciate you bringing your experience to our show, sharing your information with our audience, and I'm sure that they will take heed to some of the things that you're sharing. So is there any last word that you'd like to have, Rich, a recommendation or anything you'd like to share with the audience?
Sure. In these times, with the organization that we both belong to, ABC, Atlanta Black Chamber, and many other organizations, even the ARP, that today you can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You have so much support. So that can just remove that fear, because faith and fear cannot occupy the same place.
Yeah.
And get out there and know that you have the support that you need. And it's just exciting. And I would say, please do it.
Awesome. So now we know why you're so successful after all of these years. Would you like to wrap up with any last words for us, Dr. Adoma?
I just want to tell the seniors out there to keep living past the basic, what we call retirement age. And as have already been said, you know, never feel like, if you have the energy, the time, and if you're willing to stick your feet in the water and take a calculated risk, then you too can be like some of these other entrepreneurs that I mentioned at later in life who experience great success. And it's never too late to pass along, you know, these resources to your heirs and to the younger ones. So the older, not the older, but the wise entrepreneurs, you can help build a new America by building businesses that you can then transform that information into the smart young youth who are looking to get into entrepreneurship.
Well, thank you so much. So well said. And you can see why she's so successful as well. Well, you heard it from two very successful, and I'm going to say senior business owners, because it matters, we matter, and it makes a lot of difference. I'm so glad that you joined us today. I hope that you were able to extract some information here that will really help you. Well, I'm Gwen McDaniel, your host for the Senior Living Life Show. Until we meet, have a great week.